I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where tonight it will be the stars and cars of the USFPRO Championships, taking these all-American machines, sort of American-ish machines, across the pond. We're going to visit jolly old England tonight, the Silverstone circuit, the legacy version. 17 corners, 3.2 miles, or 5.1-ish kilometers, clicks, if you will. Michael Schumacher holds the track record here in an F2004, 1 minute 18.739. My name is Chris Graham, joined in the booth, as always, by Mr. James Watson. And I'll tell you what, James, it's kind of interesting. We were having a discussion in the pre-race about the flow or lack thereof of this place, and it's kind of interesting. It seems like people are either a big fan of this place or very much not a fan, and there's kind of no in-between.
Yeah, apparently so, and it's kind of surprising to me. Like, the current spec of Silverstone, I completely agree. The flow for the majority of that circuit is terrible, but for old Silverstone, I've always felt that it has a great amount of flow. Like, there's so much enjoyable corners to me on this circuit. Like, I've always enjoyed running old Silverstone on practically any sim I can get my hands on with this track. In fact, it's just got that classic pure F1 feel that you don't really get nowadays anymore.
Yes, it is built on an old World War II airbase, as were all of the English circuits, and this one in particular, I have always found it, we kind of talked about, I'm not a fan of this place to hot lap. And learning it, you'll learn a track by hot lapping it and running it by yourself in practice. But when you're racing somebody here, oh my God, is this place phenomenal. Especially in a car like the PM18. A lot of places that you can capitalize on the mistakes of others, or you can be the guy that has that tiny little mistake, and now all of a sudden, you're the one that has to be on the defensive.
Yeah, obviously there's less drafting areas on this version of it than the current version of it, but it's definitely it's always been a very high-speed track. So what corners it does have, you really have to maximize your potential through them. Like Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel is one of the most iconic sets of corners in the world, and if you mess that up just the slightest bit, you're going to lose so much time. And coming down here on the Hangar Straight, this is the longest straightaway on the circuit. You are going to be pretty SOL if you screw up Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel and are losing that much time, especially since it's so easy going down into Stowe to make a move. Going into the chicane too. Like, if you screw up there, you're gonna be losing spots.
Well, yeah, we're gonna see a bunch of that as this race goes on. Qualifications are underway, down just inside the 5-minute mark remaining in the session, and all 21 cars are out on the field, or out on the racetrack, I should say, at this time. Only one split tonight, so a strength of field only 27.44, but there are some monster numbers in this one. 61.32 for Carter Lundy. Everett Paddock is the number 2 at a 53.25. The one guy who is not here tonight that we would ordinarily expect to be is Ted Burns. He spent last weekend with us, basically. I didn't know he was down there, but he was down in Daytona working Rolex 24 weekend. So we won't see Ted tonight. I'm not sure if he's out and about already for more of the real-world racing stuff, but the off-season is short for the sports car guys as Carter Lundy goes fast lap 1 minute 41.250. Mobin Khan second quick, followed by Brian Molitor, Sam Carasala, and Dylan Walker in the top 5. Of note, Everett Paddock is 6th, Brian Labarge 7th, Nagisio Shikawa 8th, Mike Holler 9th. Alexander Wesley Hazelworth has not completed lap number 1 as of yet. So we'll continue to follow Mr. Lundy around here as he works lap number 2 of his 2-lap qualification run. Jason Paydu moving up into position number 13. Oh, little tire squeal, little bit of the back end kicking out for Carter Lundy, and that's it. No more, says Mr. Lundy. We'll pick up Mobin Khan. Several drivers I'm seeing with new paint schemes this week. Carter Lundy Lundy from Canada flying a Stars and Stripes livery. I'm not entirely sure what the story is there. I even had to do a refresh of the paints to make sure that what I was seeing was what I was actually should have been seeing.
Like I almost pinged you to do a refresh of trading paints because I'm like, I think we might have technical difficulties, but apparently not.
Yeah, apparently not. Everything, that's what we saw on the refresh. Lap number 2. For Mobin Khan, 141.698, still about 0.4 of a second back. Let's pick up the law firm. Alexander Wesley Hazelworth going for a spin on lap number 2. He will not improve.
What timing for that cutaway.
Yeah, really. Darren Fahey just coming around to complete his second qualification lap. He is 17th on the grid as it stands right now. Completes his run. Nice run up inside the top 10. Let's see who else is out there here. Joseph Heath in the Pennzoil Yellow Submarine with the Daniel Ricciardo tribute to Dale Earnhardt colors on the helmet. They wouldn't let Danny Rick paint the car that way, so he decided to paint the helmet instead. Down to 1 minute and 15 seconds left in the qualification session. The only car who has not completed a lap yet is Carl Giangrande. We'll take a look at Carl here once the lap is complete for Joseph Heath. This is one of those twisty bits. Actually, we were joking with Wes Shire about it, and he just says this place has no flow, and that's one of those spots that he sees slow corners. I see flowy corners. You don't have to be fast to be flowy.
Yeah, I think it's a great amount of flow. I don't know how you cannot enjoy those corners. They're just tight enough and slow enough to still be enjoyable to get through. It's yes, current Silverstone with all the super tight hairpins. I see Hazelworth still going at it.
Yes, he will be the last car to finish qualifications. So the qualification session is done. And yeah, James, to the point that you were making there, I don't know. Places that are the super tight, like a place like Monaco, I can see somebody saying it has no flow. because you're kind of just running around the streets trying to be as fast as possible. This place is a natural terrain, for the most part, circuit. I am not giving the benefit of the doubt to somebody that says this place has no flow. All right, time for us to take a look at the starting grid for tonight's race, and we will kick things off with a front row occupied by the number 1 of Carter Lundy. Like we said, a new paint scheme, the stars and stripes with some blue and gold and stuff. It's pretty. You got the wrong flag on the cowling there, bud. Carter Lundy on the pole with a lap time of 1 minute 41.251. Starting to his outside will be the number 4, Brian Molitor. Fresh paint job on that machine. The number 4 lining up 1/3 of a second back, but on the outside of the front row. Row number 2 tonight, we'll have Canada's Mobin Khan in the Echelon Sim Sport, number 10, lining up alongside of the Alaska Air Team Watson Racing setups, number 7 of Sam Karasala. Row number 3 tonight, Dylan Walker in the PPG Paint Shell V Power, number 8, alongside of Nagisa Yoshikawa in the Team Watson Racing setups, number 6. Row 4 tonight, Everett Paddock in the TNT Racing, number 2, alongside of the NASA Meatball, belonging to Brian Labarge in car number 9. Row 5 on the grid, that spectacularly beautiful Philadelphia Flyers number 12 of Rod Eskew, lining up alongside of Darren Fahey out of Australia. Row number 6, Joseph Heath in the Pennzoil Yellow Submarine, lining up alongside of the law firm Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. Row number 7 tonight will be the Citizens Climate Lobby, number 11 of Illinois' Mike Holler, Chicago, Illinois, to be specific. Lining up to his outside, the TNT Shock, number 14 of Simon Fell. The Shock Series returns just a few days from now, quite frankly. We'll give you some of those details as the race goes on. Row number 8, Joel Rafael Silva Lopez in the number 16, alongside of the Homestead Coffee Roasters, Tales from Rubicon Schaefer Oil, number 13 of Westshire. 9th row of the grid, Jason Paydu in the Napa Auto Parts, number 17, alongside, hey, that's our paint job, the National Racing Network, Team Watson Racing Setups, number 20 of Peter Donchak. A very mediocre-looking paint job by me, if I do say so myself. Eduardus Lauren Vicious on the inside of row 10, alongside of Chip Jones in the number 21. And on the final row of the grid, the number 18 of New York's Carl Giangrande. It almost looks like a Hesketh kind of scheme there on the car for Carl.
I think that's what it is. And while we're on the topic of schemes, I want to do a little bit of speculation here. I'm probably talking out my ass like I usually am, but the rest of the paint scheme that Carter has reminds me of William. Like, look at that. Look at the gold blue, like the Rothman's liveries from the late 90s. So I wonder if it's some sort of Williams livery that just doesn't have the rest of the branding on it.
Possibly. That would be, it was one that would make sense, quite frankly. Actually, that may even have been, no, because they were the blue and white HP compact kind of colors by that point. I was thinking 2001. After the 9/11 attacks.
That's what I was thinking too, but like you said, I'm fairly certain they were HP by that point, so I just can't remember what else when they would have ran that car, but like it's hard not to look at it and get Williams vibes from that.
I agree with you completely. As field making their way down towards the green flag. It's going to be interesting to see if Brian Molitor tries anything on the start here. He is not the control car, but this is not a league. It doesn't have live race control. If you time your jump start right, he very well could be able to beat Carter Lundy down towards turn 1, and that will be huge. You need to get Lundy on the defensive early in this one if you can.
Especially since Cops is a corner you can go side by side through.
And the pace car catching some air on the way in. Oh, and absolutely no jump for Molitor that time. Take a look at the overhead. It'll be side by side. between Kahn and Molitor through Copse. A little bit of a twitch there for Molitor. Lundy checking out, already a 1 second advantage over this second through 18th place group. Darren Fahey having an early issue. Mike Holler also having an early issue. We'll stay with the leaders for at least the green flag lap here. Man, Lundy, a 1.2 second advantage. Say goodbye, Carter. Unless you screw this up, we may not talk to you again tonight. As Brian Molitor very clearly on the defensive here early on in this one.
Yeah, like this is a draft track, but he's already out of draft range.
Yeah, this whole line is going to have to work together if they want a shot at catching Lundy.
I don't know. It just seems like he's in another zip code. And it seems like he's been in another zip code all week.
The AJ Camargo is checking in the comments here. He says, "Bye, Max." I mean Carter. Yeah. End of lap number 1. It's going to be a 1.5 second advantage for Carter Lundy. Now, he was 0.4 quicker, almost a half second quicker in qualifying. And as these guys get to battling, it's going to slow them up even more.
Yeah,
So-
I'd say they're probably going to try to stay like this for another couple laps, and if they still haven't made any sort of dent, then it's like, all right, cut your losses and try to figure out who gets second.
Well, let's take a look here at the NRN replay and see what happened to Mike Holler here on lap number 1. Well, okay, let's see. There we go. Oh, just a little bit of cold tires making the loop. Same thing for Darren Fahey. Several cars having issues there, actually, on lap number 1.
Wow, it's amazing they didn't hit anything. Like, when you spin right in the middle of the pack and no one hits you, that's a good day.
Yeah, I was going to say, no damage on the car. It's going to let you at least attempt a comeback. Jason Paydu having a similar issue a little bit deeper in the lap. Seeing Carl Giangrande, Chip Jones also having a couple of issues. Of note, Carter Lundy already has 2 off tracks. I forget what the number is, but if you're going to go 2 a lap, you're going to cross that threshold of you have too many incidents. It's time for a penalty.
Even back in the mid-2000s, FIA track limits were still stupid.
Can confirm. Nice battle here between Everett Paddock and Nagisa Yoshikawa in the fight for 6th. And as these guys battle, it brings Alexander Wesley Hazelworth right into their fight. It's Brian Molitor, Mobin Khan, Sam Karasala, 2, 3, 4, all running nose to tail. Then the car of Dylan Walker. That's that blue car that we normally see Jason Miller running.
Yeah.
And we will see that car next Tuesday night, this coming Tuesday, I guess, with the TNT Shock Series returning to the National Racing Network airwaves. Doubleheaders on Tuesday night. That will be 8 p.m. Eastern Time with the sprints, followed at 9:30 by the TNT Shock Series. Oh, man, big twitch for Yoshikawa that time. Hazelworth runs a hair wide. Trouble on the racetrack, possibly for Carl Giangrande. Let's take a look and see what happened here to Carl. Oh, yeah, just the same deal. Kind of overcooks it a little bit too much on cool-ish tires. And nice three-point turn, though, to get the car back facing the right direction.
Yeah, he didn't hit anything, so he's still out there turning laps.
Mike Holler and Darren Fahey battling for the 15th position.
Yeah, they're on a good comeback here. Already back up to 15th and 16th.
Yeah, starting to work your way back through the field. And the guys that are ahead of them on the racetrack, you got to get all the way up to Alexander Wesley Hazelworth in 8th before you find a driver with a higher I rating than Darren Fahey's 43.69. He entered the race with a nice I rating. Going to give up a little bit of that, though, here, as he is down 6, and he was car number 5 on the entry list. Let's take a look at the weather conditions here. 71 degrees under partly cloudy skies, 73-degree track temperature. It is breezy out of the west. Now a handful of laps in here. Eduardus Laurenvicius is your hard charger of the race. He is up 5. Alexander Wesley Hazelworth up 4. And how about it? Westshire hates this place, but he's 3rd on the positions gained list. Running in position at number 13.
Wes, the living embodiment of that one Bob Burger scene. Fine, I'll do it, but I'll complain the entire time.
Yes! Oh, that's fantastic. That may need to get clipped for the soundboard. So the AJ Camargo saying 17X, he has plenty. I don't know that that's actually accurate. Carter Lundy has had 3 more off tracks, so he's got to be up to 4 or 5 at least.
Yeah, I mean, if I remember correctly, I believe you get a drive-through penalty for 17X, so he's still got a ways to go. But yeah, it's a bit concerning, especially since we know that Carter is the living embodiment of the all-gas, no-brakes theme.
You know what? Maybe that's the goal. You know you could run into an issue with track limits penalties. So you get so much of a lead. That's what he's pushing for. Is that when he gets the penalty, he just does the drive-through. It's no big deal. He still holds on to the top spot. That would be one of the more Carter Lundy things I could think of that the kid would try.
Yep.
So we're following the battle for second between Brian Molitor and Mobin Khan as we are getting close-ish to the halfway point here. Next time by at the completion of lap number 7. It'll be 7 down and 7 to go.
Yeah, I think it's just down to a 2-horse race now for seconds. It looks like Sam's just fallen out of draft range.
I'm not entirely sure if our buddy Bizzle is watching from the airport lounge, wherever he is. I believe he was flying to New York, but he had to go through, or he's flying to Boston or something. I don't know. It was weird. I think he was going Cleveland to Boston to New York was, I think, his travel today.
Well, so much for Sam being out of draft range.
Yeah, these guys start getting a little handsy with each other, and it brings Sam Carasala right back into the discussion for the podium. The AJ saying, just like Max doing the extra pit stop, just for fun. I can see Lundy also being the guy that will stop the car about an inch from the start-finish line and hit the gas and try to stage the side-by-side finish.
Or try to just attempt to burn out over the line.
Yeah. Speaking of staged finishes, the big F1 news today, Lewis Hamilton signing with Ferrari. I'm not entirely sure I like the move.
As a Ferrari fan, I love it. This is the happiest we've been in years. That's probably not going to amount to anything, but at least we have something to smile about again.
The problem is Ferrari does not have a 1 and a 1A driver. They have a clear 1 and a clear 2. Charles Leclerc is not a number 2 driver at this point. And Lewis Hamilton is not going to play second fiddle to Charles Leclerc. I can see this being an absolute dumpster fire of the likes when you had Vettel and Raikkonen there.
Yeah, but it's not like that ended up being an issue. You know, Seb and Kimi still worked together as well as you could hope. Like, it wasn't anywhere as bad as what Fernando versus Felipe ended up becoming towards the tail end of Massa's time at Ferrari.
Yeah.
I do agree that the logistics of it is going to be difficult, and how Lewis is going to put up with Ferrari shenanigans is going to be interesting. But like you still have one of the greatest of all times on the team now, and it's like if he can get through the Ferrari-ness, then I think there's a good chance, because Ferrari has arguably had a much better car in this new era compared to Mercedes, and as close as you're gonna get to Red Bull. So it looks good for now. Obviously, there's a lot of time with a whole season in between him showing up, so there's a lot still yet to happen, but it's still pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I can see this one possibly going, maybe not the end result, but more Gilles Villeneuve, Didier Pironi than even any of the more modern pairings. Two guys that just don't like each other and don't talk to each other.
Yeah, but I still feel like that him and Leclerc can still get along well enough. But then again, Lewis and Nico were childhood friends, and then we saw how that ended up when there were world championships on the line.
Yes. He's gone from being paired with a childhood friend to being paired with a child.
Yeah.
Oh no, Ari Corcadilos checking in saying, the power pranked me so hard. I loaded into practice before the race and power went bye-bye. That sucks. Well, we did see you join the TNT Discord. We're looking forward to having you here running with us in the series. As we're talking Formula One over here, and we're down to 6 laps to go in this one, James, just past the halfway point. Right now, this is the best battle on the racetrack. This fight for second, third, and fourth, the one for fifth and sixth, is starting to heat up a little. Although, let's take a look here. Ryan Labarge catching up on Rod Eskew for 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Yeah, this is getting spicy.
Joseph Heath right in that one as well. Want to remind everybody, the Super Chats button is down there. If you're watching the playback, the Super Thanks are there. If you want to become a channel member, That option is there too on your YouTube browser window. How would you do it on the phone? I have no idea. For a guy that watches a ton of YouTube, I don't know how it works. But if you want to support the broadcast a little bit, that option is there. We do thank everybody that are our channel members and super chatters and super thanks and all that kind of stuff. We truly do appreciate your support. Carter Lundy has the lead out to 6 seconds. And my timing and scoring screen is showing 5 incidents at this point for Carter Lundy. So he might be okay. He actually had 3 separate off tracks that registered within about a second of each other. Let's take a look at that one here on the replay. Not sure if this was down into and through cops or... Oh, yeah, it just runs it a little wide. We're grasping at straws here. Everybody's behaving themselves. As Brian Labarge able to get around Rod Eskew while we're under the replay. Joseph Heath going to be there. We see Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, Nagisa Yoshikawa just up ahead of these guys. Let's pick up Dylan Walker and Everett Paddock. This is a fight for a top 5 position. Ari saying, someone give Mobin the hand signals to hit the gas harder. He needs the guys with the super late models, the dirt late model guys had with the pool noodles, giving them hand signals and stuff from the pit side grandstands.
That's fantastic.
Sam Carasala falling back of Mobin Khan and Brian Molitor. Oh, let's take a look here. The battle for second is starting to heat up. This is Molitor and Khan. Khan going to have the look as they're coming around the lap car. That's the 21 of Chip Jones.
He's got the move, but here comes the
wow! Oh my goodness! Down the straightaway, Khan made a right. That was completely non-consensual. Right side romance there by Mobin Khan.
The Pruitt fade on steroids. Oh, here we go. Oh, side by side through Abbey, is it? Oh, it's a strategy.
Oh, there's contact! What a save! Molitor and Khan both keep the car straight. Holy cow! All right, let's see the replay of this one.
Yeah, he was facing the wrong way on Abbey Road, and suddenly he's pointed the right way again.
Oh, that was beautiful.
And it's still going.
And Sam Carasal is now getting in the middle saying, hey, you know what? Enough out of you two. So Mobin Khan half a lap ago was backwards. Now he's still running second. And he may be able to break the draft here of Molitor and Carasala. Although Sam has been very patient, and I can see that continuing for the next 2.5 laps here.
Yeah.
If they stay nose to tail, they have a shot of catching Mobin.
I don't know. I think they might be a bit out of luck here. I think trying to make the move through Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel might have been a not great decision because they were side by side losing all that time. through those sections while Mobin was able to just go through by himself and gained so much time on them.
Let's see. We don't have cameras here. Our normal NRN cameras built. I'm trying to get us a close-up view on Molitor's car because Nietzsche Camargo checking and saying he has damage.
Yeah, I was wondering about that myself because that was fairly significant contact on the right side of that front wing.
And with only 2 laps to go, you're not going to let Carasala past. At least not willingly. Oh, yeah, you definitely see a little bit there.
Yeah, Sam's got to make this move quick then. I'm amazed that Molitor is able to keep the pace up as it is with that, because that's fairly significant damage. Here comes the move.
And it's brought Everett Paddock and Dylan Walker into the discussion here. Carasala able to cleanly come through. Yeah, sort of. All right, Corcadillo saying puncture. Molitor's in the cockpit saying, "Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing." Nietzsche saying, "I think that carbon fiber is bent." I don't think I guess you can't bend carbon fiber, but I do get the point.
I mean, it's definitely bent up.
Yeah, iRacing shows it as bent, not broken.
Which is odd, but damage model gonna damage model.
Yeah, pretty much. So, white flag is out. 1 lap to go for race leader Carter Lundy, who is 10 seconds up the road from these guys, as Everett Paddock will come past Molitor and up into position number 4. Well, maybe not. Oh, there, Molitor backs out. That was probably a pretty smart call there by Brian Molitor. Vilmacher, the netcode gods are a fickle bunch.
Aye.
The AJ heading in iRacing carbon fiber physics. Yes. Everything is physically accurate, except when it's not. So let's show our race leader, since he's, well, gone. The gap's sitting at 7.1 seconds. He's still letting the tail end of that thing hang out, too. Oh, he's drifting it. He's playing at this point. Still drifting it.
Unreal.
Oh, my goodness. Carter Lundy, you're showing off. Down over the start-finish line. Checkered flag in the air. Carter Lundy picks up the win at Silverstone. Mobin Khan down over the line. He'll come home. Second, there's Sam Carasala for third. Everett Paddock, Dylan Walker, the top 5. All the way back through 10th place. Let's take a look. Last battle that we're going to see come across the line. Mike Holler versus Wes Shire in the battle for the 14th position. And Mike Holler going to be able to hold on to that one for 14th and 15th. Just a couple of cars left to come across the line. Next up will be, let's see, Jason Padu's over the line. Oh, we haven't shown our car yet. There's Peter Dodchak over the line. Petey, thank you very much for running the colors, man. We do Truly appreciate that. Not a bad looking race car either.
It is not. I like it.
I have decided that I think I'm going to go the route of old paint schemes, old real world schemes that I'm going to modify to fit the NRN branding instead of trying to do all of these custom ones from scratch. I think we could have some fun with this. The AJ Camargo is checking in saying, that's how drifting was invented. Yes, and we were discussing drifting earlier. It was one of those things. I think it's cool. I just don't get the appeal of watching people shred tires. Ted Burns saying, got to get that DFR set up to beat Carter. Wish I could be there to battle him again. We had a great battle early in the week. Ted, thank you much for watching. We appreciate that. Ari, there is not a chance you're getting into the booth for the post-race interviews. Let's see. Oh, here. There we go. We'll give you the answer that way. But let's see. Let's do this. We got to get to here. And let's slow everything down here so we can talk to our race winner tonight. We'll bring him in and see if he unmutes himself. There we go. Unmuting himself, getting himself all squared away here in Victory Lane. Carter Lundy, congratulations. An absolutely fantastic drive from you tonight. We hardly showed you at all, leading from the drop of the green flag. You looked like you were having some fun there, though, on that last lap. Were you drifting the entire final lap?
No, I wasn't drifting the entire final lap, but I was definitely drifting for more than one lap. Yeah, cold tires are pretty brutal here, and I knew I had a few tenths of pace and advantage over everybody else. So when I saw them going side by side into turn one on the first lap on cold tires, I knew they were going to lose like a second. So from there, I knew it would be not easy, but not too difficult to pull away. And then I just kept driving and did some drifting at the end.
Yeah, you're getting to have a little bit of fun here. How much is it difficult to kind of just run away and hide from everybody? I mean, we were talking in the pre-race in the driver's chat about, I don't think this is a great place to hot lap. I think it's a great place to race, but not necessarily hot lap. What are your thoughts on that? Because, I mean, obviously you had this thing hooked up here tonight.
I think it's great for both. I've actually never raced here before. I did a few races with Ted on Monday or Tuesday, but I've done a ton of laps here and just iRacing, Assetto Corsa, or whatever. I've just really loved this layout. I think it's really fun to drive. I think it's really fun to hot lap. Just that whole section with the chicane and then the bridge and the fast left. It's just really well flowing for me, and it raced really well too with the straights and a lot of corners you could go side by side. So definitely lived up to the expectations for me.
And Carter, you just settled a debate for us too. We were talking in the pre-race about whether this place has flow, and you described it as flowy. So there you go. Wes, you lose. Carter, congratulations on the win. A fantastic drive for you tonight here. And before we let you go, final question: did you change the paint scheme? I am seeing a Stars and Stripes.
Yeah, gotta represent my neighboring country.
My neighboring country. Oh, that's awesome. All right, Carter. Well, then do all the sponsor plugs and shout-outs that you want to get in here before we let you go.
Yep, thank you to you guys for putting on the broadcast as usual. Might not be looking forward to watching this one back if I didn't get that much screen time, but I'm sure it'll be great. I'm sure they had some great battling back there, and thank you to Nagisa and Team Watson Racing for the setup, and thank you to Cooper Tires.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out in the booth with us. You do want to check it out because there were shenanigans and possibly beef. It is going to be a fun watch back. That is for sure. But Carter, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming to check in with us here. And now we'll talk to our runner-up finisher here tonight. I believe this guy was sideways, backwards, whatever you want to call it, with a couple of laps to go and still managed to come home second. Mobin, congratulations. Talk us a little bit through that battle, because you guys got a little bit more than argy-bargy or even grab-assy there. You guys wrecked.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. Like pretty much. I mean, I think it was a bit questionable for us to go too wide in turn one on lap one. We kind of lost Carter, so at that point, I kind of knew like this race is over. You know, his car is very fast, and as soon as we lost the draft to him, it was pretty much a fight for second. And then, you know, I just kind of tucked in behind Brian for a little while just to try and pull a gap from the guys behind, so that when we do start fighting, we don't have to worry. And then when we did start fighting, I mean, through there, I looked at the replay, and it was like crazy netcode. And then Brian saved me. I was pretty much fully looped around, and Brian saved me. So shout out to Brian for that. And I don't think I took any damage, but it seemed like Brian might have, because afterwards he lost a ton of straight line, and then him and Sam fought. So I will say that a lot of my luck for the season might have been used up there, but it was a good battle, and it was hard racing from Brian. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, now, I mean, we look at the championship standings. You were 7th entering tonight's race. Do you feel like this is one of those that could benefit you down the road, or just because of the SOF, it kind of turns into a drop week?
I still think it benefits me. I mean, honestly, I'm still in the stages of learning, right? So any race I can run with multiple people hard like that, I want to go back, watch the replay, and try and improve in every aspect with setup and racecraft to bring a better fight next time. And, you know, maybe next race it'll be for P1 instead of P2. So we're going to Indianapolis, and I think every point counts, right? You never know what's going to happen. Like a buddy of mine who was supposed to run in this race, and his power went out, unfortunately. So you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, actually, we were just talking to Ari in the comments, and that one sucks. But yeah, Mobin, congratulations on the runner-up finish here tonight. And before we let you go, do any of those sponsor plugs and shout-outs you want to get in here?
For sure. First of all, I want to thank you guys for always putting on an awesome broadcast. I enjoy watching it, and all my friends, they love it. And I want to give a shout out to Echelon SimSport, my sim team, for their continuous support. My sponsor, Dr. Dabber, and Adam Crane for always standing by, giving me tips when needed, and fighting me in practices to help me gear up for these races. And I want to give a shout out to Ari as well, who gave me a couple of tips for I was having some confusion with setup, and he helped me out. It was really unfortunate that he couldn't make the race, but let's hope we see him as well as some of the other guys like Ted and Ellis in the next one.
All right, buddy. Well, Mobin, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming up to hang out with us here for a couple of minutes on race night in Victory Lane doing the podium stuff. Let's talk to our third place finisher now, Mr. Sam Karasala. And I'll tell you what, Sam, you had a heck of a view of the shenanigans going on in front of you. But it was really a battle, and interesting watching you guys. Those two would get ahead of you. You'd catch back up. The pack would kind of split into twos, not necessarily a full three. How difficult is that to drive through? Because you kind of feel like you're giving up in spots, you're gaining in spots. There's a lot going on there.
Hey, yeah, it's a very difficult track, this one. You can, if you're attached to someone, it's relatively easy to stay attached, but just one mistake. There was one point somewhere in the middle where going into one of the corners, my car just got a little bit sideways, and I mean, I thought I lost him. Fortunately, I got so lucky that Mobin and Brian started fighting right after that to kind of pull me back in. But I really wish this track was a little bit more better participated this week, because I had the feeling not many people got too many practice laps here. And I know I, for one, was a little bit off pace. Carter was just flying out there. So yeah, it happens a lot. I'm sure you've seen it. Like my style is kind of the bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. I'm kind of happy where I was at P4, waiting for an opportunity. I know those two were racing at each other pretty hard, so it's just waiting for the opportunity to appear for me.
Well, it's interesting that you say it that way, because it seems like this was in one of the things we talked about in the pre-race was the fact that you either had to not make a mistake or be ready to capitalize when somebody ahead of you did. It just kind of had that feeling of how this race was going to shake out. how do you get yourself, while you're driving and you're trying to execute those picture perfect laps, how do you mentally stay engaged to the point of, I have to be ready to make this move? Because that's not the easiest switch to flip.
It's a lot of patience, a lot of just making sure you're always hitting your marks. It is such a hard track to just nail a lap on. There are so many little places where you can just lose a little bit of time, and that just expands on itself on the very long straights that keep following. My biggest opportunity, I think, was somewhere later on in the race. Mobin and Brian kind of came together, and they were half spinning, and that was a really tough situation because I just can't tell, are both cars going to stay alive? Is one of them going to spin into me? Okay, I know I have a little bit of overspeed on these guys now, but I'm going for the gap, but that's closing pretty rapidly. So it's just a lot of patience, just making sure you can only control what you can control. And as a driver, that's making sure you hit all your marks.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a fantastic show you guys put on for us here tonight. Sam, congratulations on another podium to go with a couple of wins already this season. Thank you so much for coming to join us up in the booth here. And before we let you go, do those sponsor plugs and shout outs you want to get in.
As always, shout out to you guys for broadcasting this series. It's great fun, and I hope everyone who sees this comes and races with us. And thank you to Team Watson Racing for the setup.
I agree with you. This place should have a whole lot more participation than it does, and we'll get there. We have to. Eventually, somewhere at some point, James, we are going to get to the point where the participation numbers for this car are where they should be, although we've been saying that for a while now. All in all, though, really great race here out of the USF Pro guys. Carter doing Carter Lundy things was just a blast to watch late. But man alive, great battle for second, third, fourth, and several other spots through the field.
Yeah, that battle for second place was really intense. And being able to see them go side by side through sections of the track where you really shouldn't was a lot of fun to watch and really helped kind of get us through the race while Carter was absolutely bludgeoning the field.
Yes, and the Carter Lundy things there, that was fun. Ted Burns is checking in the comments saying it's a fun track, but it takes a few laps to get up to pace. Yeah, I agree with him, and also saying the same thing to Sam about, hoping we get the participation numbers up because, man alive, this place is so good and the car is so good too. Next week, we're going to head off to another of I'm going to say it, a good road course. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the world's greatest race course, but we're going to run the road course there. These cars are going to put on an incredible show there. Another draft lock track. It is going to be fun. And then Monday night, the iRacing Silver Crown Cup heads off to Rockingham Speedway down there in the hills of North Carolina for what will be a great show in the Crowns. And on Tuesday night, a race I have been looking forward to since the schedules were announced. The iRacing Sprint Car Cup heads to Slinger Speedway. Quarter-mile, high-banked insanity. Circular insanity is what Brian Clausen called it. That's what the sprint cars are going to race like there on Tuesday night. Wednesday, it'll be a double header on our bottom split show with the Daredevil Series, the Lotus 79s. We're going to do two races at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. The first one on the road course, the Roval. Great turn 5 with the bowl outside the backside of the racetrack. And then we're going to do the second race there on the oval. I'm looking forward to that one in a pretty big way. And then, like we said, 1 week from tonight, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. Can't wait. It is going to be a blast. But with that, time for Mr. Watson and I to get the hell on out of here. It's been a fun show tonight, and we're looking forward to seeing all of y'all early next week. For James and everybody else here at the National Racing Network that gets these shows on the air for us, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for coming to hang out, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Have a great night, everybody.